Siona, you've got your own book. Okay, I'll use this. Shanna? Yes? No? Okay, great. Shanna, do you want to join us? Sure, come on.
Oh, I don't normally.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hello. Shanna, you know everybody? So I just wanted to take a minute and say you work together. Let's start. Most students have a long time. One way to go live on a long time, extra long time. Now the work is done. I think we're good. Actually, no, you got 2 minutes. 2 actual minutes, though. 2, okay.
Two, but just two.
Just 2. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah. Talk in just a minute, but I wanted you to get up here and start feeling your way. I think we're going to start with you, Tov. You feel so far away, Shanna.
Huh?
Wave, Siona. No, but up there. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
It's so nice to see you all. Welcome to all our friends who are joining us from far away. The service will formally begin in a moment. I just want to invite those of you who are here in the sanctuary to please turn your cell phones off. We don't use them in our sanctuary on Shabbat. And also to let you know, the mics in the sanctuary are super duper live. And so what I've learned, what that means is that when I lean over to say to Siona, like, isn't this great? Everybody who's watching us online can hear everything. So consider that my love for you to help avoid anything potentially slightly awkward or embarrassing. Everything that we say in the sanctuary can be heard to all our friends who are being live streamed. Thanks, everybody. We're going to begin on page 10 with the singing of Hine Ma Tov. We're going to ask you to participate, but because we're in a time of COVID, please participate gently and softly. All right. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. And welcome to all our friends watching. Siona, you want to welcome? Hey, everybody.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Hine ma tovu manayim שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחיות גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, שבת אחיות גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחיות גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחיות גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יא לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחיות גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome. It's so good to be together. It's so good to see you. I appreciate the enthusiasm for the people here in the back row. I'm guessing those are Herzl people, yeah? All right, good. I'm Michael Latz. I have the privilege of being one of the rabbis here at Shir Tikva. We are so happy to be gathered together after long last to celebrate Siona being called to Torah as bat mitzvah. It's been a wait, and we're really glad to be here. For those of you who are watching online, hello. There should be a link to the Sidur, the prayer book that's been dropped into the chat. I will do my best to remember to share the numbers that we're on because they're different from the prayer book. For those of you who are here, you should have a prayer book and a program. We'll try and do our best to announce which parts we're in. If you need a washroom, for those of you who are here, there's one straight through those doors, and there's another one outside the sanctuary and up the stairs. So please, as you need. For those of you who are present with us, I want to invite you, please, to turn your phones off. If they go off during the service, the Talmud teaches that the rabbi gets to keep the phone and your parents pay the plan. So, got it? All right, good. We have been apart for a really long time, and we are just now starting to come back together. And those muscles of how to be together are a little atrophied. So we're going to do our best to tell you exactly what we need to do during the service, where we are, what's going on. But if we miss up something, most likely it will be me who does it, and I will just, laugh and apologize. But we'll be good, right, Siona? You're good. I've got a little work. We are really delighted to be together. For those of you who are watching online, I just want to let you know, everybody in the sanctuary is masked except when we're up here speaking, and vaccinated, and we'll all be wearing our masks throughout the service to help keep each other safe and healthy. For the children who are between 5 and 11, Shir Tikva and I, as rabbi, want to just say thank God we've got the vaccines for you. They'll be available on Friday. It is everybody's moral duty to get vaccinated to take care of each other, so we look forward to you getting your Fauci ouchie, and God willing, all of us being back together very soon. All right, if you want to sing and you're in the congregation, because singing is still considered a little bit of a risky activity, we just ask you sing a little more quietly than normal, which as Shir Tikva is like the hardest thing I ever have to say because we are a synagogue that loves to sing robustly. If you have a role in the service, I'll call you up. You'll stand right here and use this mic. You can take your mask off when you're speaking. Otherwise, we then need you to put it back on and to wear it snugly over your ears. Thank you. All right, we are going to continue with Siona's grandparents, Marilyn and Roger, leading us in a beautiful reading. It is in your program. It is not in your program, so you should just receive it lovingly.
May you know great joy, happiness, and fulfillment in your life. May you walk with your people in pride, and may you understand that to be a Jew is a source of joy and meaning and an important responsibility.
May you honor your parents, recognizing that they have brought you into the world in love and in hope, and may you bring them great joy. May you go from strength to strength, yet always be able to accept your own weaknesses and those of others.
May you judge yourself and others with fairness and compassion without harshness. May you have the confidence and self-esteem to move toward whatever goals you choose for yourself.
May you have the wisdom and courage to change your mind if original goals are replaced by newer and better ones. May you allow yourself to dream your dreams and soar with flight of fantasy and imagination.
May you always keep a precious part of yourself as child, even as you moved into adulthood. May your ears be filled with music of every imaginable kind, and may the rhythms be of your own making. Allow yourself to march at your own pace.
May you experience those inevitable moments of sadness and pain, which are also a part of life, in a way which will give these moments meaning and add value to your life. May you live in a world blessed with peace and harmony, and may your future be as bright and as hopeful as the world's first rainbow. Amen.
Thank you so much. We continue together with the singing of Moda'ani, page 68.
Moda'ani lefanecha, melech chai v'kayam, shehechezarta v'nishmati bechemla, rabba emunatecha, rabba שחזרת ונשמעתי בחמלה, בחמלה, רבה אמונתך, רבה אמונתך.
We're delighted that Siona now receives her talit from her grandma.
Dear Siona, I feel so special sharing today with you. That's because you are very special. Your bat mitzvah is an important event in your life's journey. You are celebrating and honoring our Jewish tradition. I know you have worked hard to be here, dear. And I speak for everybody. We are very, very proud of you. Mazel tov, dear granddaughter. Ani ohevet ota. I love you.
Blessing is on page 72 at the bottom. There we go. This one. So say the blessing and put it on you, okay?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatev batzitzit.
Amen.
Amen.
So putting it on. Put it on. There we go. Beautiful. Thank you. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. We're going to continue together with Shanna leading us in Psalm 150. We're on page 100. And Siona, for your parents' generation and those of us who are here now in our 50s or close thereof, this was the psalm that Kevin Bacon used in Footloose to be able to get the senior prom. So thank you. Do you remember? You remember this? He argues before the town council. This is the psalm that he quotes. All right, taking us back to those days back when the Brat Pack was actually, good. Okay, page 100.
Hallelujah, 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 Kol hanshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah, Kol hanshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, 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 Kol hanshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah, Kol hanshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
It's good when we got good enthusiasm in the congregation. We like that. In a moment, Shanna and Siona are going to lead us in the Baruch Hu. But Siona, first, I just wanted to point out, I noticed on your program that you asked today for donations in honor of your bat mitzvah to Black Lives Matter, to an organization that was created about a decade ago on the simple premise that every human being should be able to live and breathe free. And it's somewhat shocking to me that that's controversial, that people should be able to go to school and go to work and have a family and friends and not have to fear for their lives. And I'm I feel inspired and really proud that this is who you're asking for donations for, because a lot of times in religious communities, people pray one thing in the sanctuary, and then the minute they walk out of the sanctuary after they prayed for peace and justice and wholeness, they turn their back on their prayers when they get to the ballot box or when they are on the streets. And you're reminding us today that we have to actually say the same stuff wherever we are. We have to hold those commitments. We have to treat each other with dignity and work to end structural racism. And so it helps me know that my prayers today will be authentic and sincere, and that I have to carry them not just here in the sanctuary, but once I leave these doors, to be a full human being. And I want to thank you for that. That's what it means to be bat mitzvah, to challenge us, to ask us to grow, to ask us to be better than we currently are. So thank you. We're going to continue together with Siona and Shanna leading us in the Baruch Hu, page 108, which is also number 4, for those of you who are joining us on the stream. And we will invite you please to rise as you are able. We'll face the ark, except Shanna won't exactly face the ark because she can't.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vaed Hamevorach Hamevorach Leolam Vaed.
We're going to continue with the words of Shema, words of unity and oneness, page 114. Siona is going to lead us, so you can take off your mask. And it's number 7 in your packet online.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You can be seated. Siona continues leading us in V'ahavta, page 116.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadevarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'vetecha uv'lechtecha v'aderet u'shechbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha Leman tiskeru va'asetem ekol mitzvotai v'yetem kedoshim lelohichem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
We continue together with number 9 in the packet online and page 122, Michamocha. These were the words our ancestors sang as they marched from slavery to freedom, as they crossed troubled waters, and for the first time in their lives were able to begin to imagine worshiping God without being under slavery. Page 122, number 9. Continue now on page 124 with the Tefillah, number 10 in your Siddur packet. We invite you please to rise in body or in spirit.
Adonai Sefetai Tiftach Ufiya Gita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Koneh HaKol, Ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Be'ezrat Sarah.
128.
Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atara Le'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lechachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto bishmi marom, kakatuv al yad neviecha, v'karaz el zeh ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Meloch ol haaretz, Kevodo, Adir, Adirenu, Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir, Shimcha bechol haaretz. Baruch kevod Adonai, mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, vehu Yashmienu, Birachamav le'nei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai yichzion, Ledor vador, Hallelujah. Ledor vador nagid God lecha, Ulenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nagdish, Veshivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush leolam vaed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You can take a moment now for silent prayer and meditation through page 142. Please be seated when you're done. We're going to come out of our silence with words of peace and prayers for wholeness. Page 142, Oseh Shalom, let us be makers of peace.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
That was a mighty fine wake-up call. Thanks, Shanna. Siona, you have a second. We have arrived at Seder Kriyat Torah, the service for the reading of Torah, which is so much of the work that Siona has worked on for these past years now. And Siona, I want to say to you today, what a delight I've heard you chant Torah. You are a beautiful Torah chanter. And I also just want to acknowledge how important it is to us as a community that we are gathered here together in the sanctuary today. 3 years ago this morning, a gunman stormed into Tree of Life congregation in Pittsburgh, and shot and killed 11 people who were gathering for Shabbat morning services. And there's a lot of talk about what justice looks like. And for me, the best, most loving, most poetic act of justice is calling a young woman to Torah today to keep the words of our tradition alive in their memory. And so I want to thank you, Siona, for reminding us that amidst all of the pain and the heartache in the world, hope is still possible. And it's a real gift you're giving not only us here today, but those who are streaming from wherever you are streaming from, and a reminder that we are strong together. So Siona, I'd like to invite you up here. Your mom and dad are going to come up right here. Your grandparents are going to come stand in front right here. The congregation is going to please rise. We are on page 246, Ki Mitzion. Todd and Molly, you're going to read that one, right? And Todd, you're reading up to after she's done singing, okay? Yep, Shana, go ahead.
Ki Mitzion tetzei Torah, Udvar Adonai Mirushalayim. Ki Mitzion tetzei Torah, Udvar Adonai Mirushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah le'amo, Yisrael b'kedushato. Ki Mitzion tetzei Torah, Udvar Adonai Mirushalayim. Ki Mitzion tetzei Torah, Udvar Adonai Mirushalayim.
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be. May your heart be filled with intuition. May your words be rich in understanding. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue, and your vision clarify a straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of Torah, and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom, and your fulfillment be in righteousness, even as you ever yearn to hear the words of the Ancient One of Holiness.
Nasim shalom tova uveracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Nasim shalom tova uveracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim.
Watching the Torah pass down, Siona, is such a beautiful moment. We continue together with Shema, Shanna leading us, and then we'll march the Torah around in just a second. And Siona, the path that we followed on Tuesday, we're going to do a little different path today, okay? Because, we'll get there. All right, Shanna.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadlul Adonai iti Uniramema Shemo Yachdav Al Shlosha Devarim Al Shlosha Devarim Al Shlosha Devarim Haolam Omed Al Shlosha Devarim Al Shlosha Devarim Al Shlosha Devarim Haolam Omed Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim Al HaTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim Al Shlosha Devarim Al Shlosha Devarim Al Shlosha Devarim Haolam
Please be seated. Siona and I have been studying the Torah portion for how long, Siona? About 2 years. And while COVID has been terrible in 100,000 or really 750,000 different ways, one beautiful thing to come out of it is that I got to spend extra time with Siona studying Torah, and she has a beautiful, beautiful interpretation, which she is going to share with us now, and she has promised me that she will share it slowly and loudly so all of you in the congregation can hear and all of you on the streaming can hear, right? Okay, thanks.
Shabbat Shalom. Today I want to tell you the main things that happen in my Torah portion. Rebekah gives birth to twins named Jacob and Esau. Rebekah favored Jacob and Isaac favored Esau. Esau sells his birthright to Jacob. Rebekah tells Jacob to dress up like Esau so Isaac can bless Jacob, who he thinks is Esau. After Isaac mistakenly blesses Jacob, Esau returns and Isaac realizes he blessed the wrong child. Esau gets so angry when he realizes his father had no more blessings left because he already gave it to Jacob that he threatens to kill Jacob. Rebekah warns Jacob that Esau is planning on killing him, and she begs him to leave town until Esau's rage cools down. I think what Rebekah did was very wrong. She lied to her husband and tricked him. She favored Jacob, so she wanted him to get the birthright, but that doesn't mean it's okay to trick someone. She should treat both her children equally and treat her husband better. I wanted to imagine this story differently, so I tried to picture it from Rebekah's point of view to get a better understanding of what was going through her mind. Here I am now imagining myself speaking as Rebekah. I carried these twins in my belly for 9 whole months. My kids are twins, so it feels silly to focus on giving the birthright to the oldest brother because the twins were born on the same day. I know my husband favors Esau because he's a hunter and can provide food, so they both have stuff in common. But Jacob is quiet and he likes to spend time with me in the tent, so I favor him. I will do anything to make sure Jacob gets the birthright. Any curse that happens will be on me. What I have learned from this story is that even if you prefer or want something, it doesn't mean you should do everything in your power to get it. Rebekah wanted Jacob to have the birthright so badly that she tricked her husband and betrayed her other child. I think this message is important because even in life, if you want something, sometimes the measures you have to take to get it are unreasonable.
You know, Siona, we've practiced this a lot, and it sounded even better today. Yasher koach. That's a really important message. We live in a culture which says you should do anything you have to do to get what you want, and you put the brakes on that today and said, actually, you have to have some ethics and values, and it's a really wise reminder. I think I'm going to use this in your name and send it to a few of our public officials who I think could benefit from reading this. Thanks, Siona. All right, friends, this is only the tip of the iceberg of all the amazing things Siona has done. And so she is going to chant Torah now. And I think what we're going to do, Siona, is just, I'm going to put this underneath here. That way we know where it is. Okay, and Siona has a Mora Derech, a teacher of the way, a shower of the path, whose name is Marilyn Weisberg, who has been pretty darn terrific, right, Siona? Who has taught Siona Torah and ushered her through. And so Siona, Marilyn's going to be your gabait today, meaning she's going to stand here and make sure if you need any help during your Torah reading, she'll spot you, right? It's a really good idea when you do something really hard to find somebody as warm and smart and competent and loving as Marilyn to keep them by your side. It's good practice in life to do something like that. Yeah? I agree. Everybody should have a Marilyn Weisberg in their life. It's true. So if you are joining us for an aliyah, for a blessing up here, I will call you, fear not. You'll come up, you'll do the aliyah, the blessing. Siona will chant her part of the parsha. You'll bless again, and then you can go sit down. What I'm going to ask, though, is just to be, for those of you who are here, a little extra careful, in part because we have the the wiring and the tubes and things so people can see on Zoom. There's just some extra stuff here, so I just want you to be extra careful you don't trip and hurt yourself. It's in Zoomlandia now, we're learning a whole new way of being in the world. All right, for the first Aliyah, we have your dear friend Leah. Leah, would you come on up? Okay, and let's actually make sure you're in the right spot, Siona. Give me 1 second, Leah. Okay, we should be Ve'ele Toldot Yitzchak, right? Okay, my talit just, there we go. Okay, give me 1 second. All right, and Leah, do you have it in the book? Yep, okay, great. All right, so Leah, we're gonna be, Siona, do you have the yad? Yep, Leah, if you wanna.
I'm right here.
Right here, and Marilyn's right there, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect,
that's
that's
what
great,
I
that's
said.
exactly right. So right there, okay? See it? Ve'ele Toldot, beautiful, okay. Okay, just, you can take off your mask to do the blessing if you like.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim ve'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Thank you. Siona, I can hold this side. I just don't want to lose. There we go. Okay. Oh, Marilyn, can you lift it up a little bit? There we go. There we go.
Okay.
Amen. Ve'ele Toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham. Avraham holid et Yitzchak. Vayehi Yitzchak ben 40 shana. Bukachto et Rivka. Babetuel ha'armi. Mipadan aram. Acho. Levana arami. Lele isha. Vayatar Yitzchak ladonai linocha chishto ki yakara hiv vayater lo Adonai vatahar Rivka ishto vayirotzu habanim bikirba vatomer im kain lamazech anochi vatelek lidrosh et Adonai vayomer Adonai La Shnei Goyim Bivitnei Ushnei Leumim Mime'ai Giberedu Ulom Milom Ye'ematz Verav Ya'avod Sa'ir.
Yeshikoach. Okay, right there. I'm just gonna, if you want to put the yad down, we'll just set yours there. Okay, actually, beautiful. Here, we'll just cover the Torah back up. Marilyn, actually, want to roll toward me. Perfect. Okay, and Leah, if you would do the bracha after.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Leah, if you want to just stand over there with Marilyn, that would be great. Since Torah is out, our minhag, our tradition is to say a Misha Berach for healing. Shanna will lead us. It's on page 253, and we'll pause between the verses if you are praying for somebody who is sick of body or mind or spirit and would like to share their name with us either here or on the YouTube chat. We invite you to do so we can pray for their well-being. Page 253 in the prayer book, number 15 in your online Siddur.
Misheberach Avotenu Mekor Habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
We are praying for the healing and well-being of
Rabbi Sim Glazer, Ori Weisberg.
Jerry Gilchrist. Everyone with COVID.
Me Sheberach imotenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thanks, Siona. For our second Aliyah, Siona, we're calling up some of your aunts and uncles and cousins. So if you hear your name, please come on up. We're Dan, Mike, Hannah, and Isaac, and Stephanie. Ya'amdu hamishpacha hagadola shel habachora habat mitzvah, Daniel ben Ruvain v'Miriam, Avigdor ben Ruvain v'Miriam, Shoshana v'Yitzchak b'nei Daniel v'Laliv, v'Sara bat Avigdor v'bat Yaleh la'aliyah sheni. All right, here we go. Whew. All right. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Okay, careful. All right. Okay. Ve'ele Toldot Notza Yitzchak, and you're right. There you go. Harishon, is that right? No. No. Sorry, Tzeir, right there. Ve'im.
Oh, yeah.
Imlu. There we go. Sorry.
Seir, entered Seir.
Yep, right there.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Okay, but you can take off your mask so we can hear you. There we go. Right after Tzeir. Right there. Yep.
Vayimlu yameha laledet vehine tomim bivitna vayetze harishon admoni kulo ke'aderet se'ar vayikru shemo esav v'yacharechen yatsa achiv v'yado ochazet ba'akev esav vayikra shemo Yaakov V'Yitzchak ben shishim shana beledet otam.
Eshkach. Next time. Okay, perfect. Great. All right. Yep.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher natan lanu Torat Emet V'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach. If you all would like to step over by where Marilyn is, that would be great. And then I think, Siona, we're going to the other side of your family. Is that right? It looks like it. David and Elizabeth? All right. Ya'amdu David ben Meir v'Chava v'Elisheva bat Label v'Miriam v'Aliyah Shlishit.
What's your name?
Yeah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah.
Amen. Okay. There we go.
Amen. Vayigdalu Hana Amarim Vayehi Esav Ish Yodea Tzayid Ish Sadeh V'Yaakov Ish Tam Yoshev Ohalim Vayehav Yitzchak Esav Ki Tzayid B'Fiv V'Rivka Ohevet Yaakov Vayezed Yaakov Nazir Vayavo Esav Min Hasadeh V'Hu Ayev Vayomer Esav El Yaakov Hal Iteni Na min ha'adom, ha'adom, hazeh, ki ayef anohi, Elokein kara shemo Edom.
Beautiful. So you have to Vayomer right there. Okay, beautiful. Yeshkach. Marilyn, I just want to roll. Oh, thank you. Yep. Perfect. Yep, that's great. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yeshkach. You all can take your seats if you all want to do the shuffle that way. That's great. For our next Aliyah, and you can take your mask off next time, okay? I think we have your mom and dad, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Huh? And sister. Well, we got a bonus Torah reader. All right. Ya'amdu hamishpacha shel bachra bat mitzvah Tuvia ben Meir v'Chava Miriam bat Ruvain v'Miriam v'Maya bat Tuvia v'Miriam v'Aliyah Revi'it. There we go. You want it big? There we go. Yes. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. How do you hold? Thank you here. Thank you here. So ve'ela toldot. So you were at Vayomer, is that right? Vayomer Yaakov. Vayomer Yaakov. Is that right?
Yeah. Vayomer Yaakov Michra Chayom Et Becharatcha Li Vayomer Esav Hine Anochi Holek Lamut V'lamazech Li Bechara Vayomer Yaakov Hishava Lo Kayom Vayishava lo v'yimkor becharato leYaakov v'Yaakov natan leEsav lechem unzid adashim vayochal vayesht vayakam vayelach vayivez Esav et habechara.
Yeshkoach. Next paragraph will be easy to find. Thank you. Amen. You guys can go sit down. Todd, why don't you go to that side with Maya, and Marley, why don't you stay on this side, and that way you'll both be on a side with her. Okay, you'll be right here, Marley. For her Aliyah for Bat Mitzvah. Siona, are you ready? That was pretty amazing Torah chanting.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ta'amod, ta'amod, ta'amod. Habachura habat mitzvah, Siona bat Tuvia, v'Miriam la'aliyah bat mitzvah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Okay, Todd, if you want to hold this side, Marilyn's on, and Marley, if you want to hold this side, that's great. Beautiful. Okay, well, here, let's just give you a mic. Beautiful.
Vayhi ra'av ba'aretz milvad hara'av harishon asher haya bimei Avraham v'yelech Yitzchak el Avimelech melech Pelishtim Gerara vayera elav Adonai Vayomer el tered Mitzrayma shechon ba'aretz Asher Omar Elecha Gor Ba'aretz Hazot V'yeheya Imcha V'avarhecha Kilecha Uzarcha Etain Eko Aratzot Ha'el V'hakimoti Ehashvua Asher Nishbati La'Avraham Avicha V'hir beiti et zarcha kehochvei hashamayim v'natati lezarcha El kol ha'aretzo ha'el v'hitbarchu v'zarha kol goyei ha'aretz ekev asher shema Avraham bekoli v'yishmor mishmarti mitzvotai hukotai v'torotai.
Yesh koach. We'll take this. Siona, if you want to give us the final blessing afterwards.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach, Siona, we're very, very proud of you. Our minhag at Shir Tikva, if you want to go have a seat, I believe some uncles are going to lift you up as Shanna leads us in Siman Tov and Mazel Tov, and we will gently shower you with some candy. If you'd like to shower with sweetness in the chat, we invite you. Uncles, come on up, please rise. Go sit and just cross your feet at your knees, okay? Right here. Maya, I need a chair. All right, perfect, right here. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Siman tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tovu, siman tovu, siman tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tovu, siman tovu, siman tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tovu, siman tovu. Yehelanu, 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 ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulechol Yisrael.
Yasher koach, thank you to the uncles. Siona, you did great. Students, if you'd like to come up and get some candy, you're welcome to, and give it to the other folks who aren't students. The only rule is that there are no wrappers on the floor. Carmen takes care of our building, and we don't make her job any harder, okay? Come get some candy. What are you waiting for? Come get some candy, come on. Thank you, Leah. Roger and Marilyn, would you like to join us up here as we dress the Torah? Please rise.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe.
Marilyn, come here. Ya la 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 la.
Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya 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 la 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 la.
You can be seated. Siona is going to chant from the Haftarah, which is in your program if you'd like to follow along. Marilyn, you don't have to go anywhere. You can stay. You can stay. We like having you up here. Yeah, come on. Siona is going to offer the blessings, which should be on page 254, unless they've moved. Okay, and the Haftarah is a selection from the prophets that Siona will chant from. It's in your program. And you can take off your mask. There we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim ba'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Torah emet hayata b'fihu ve'avla lo nimtza v'sfata b'shalom u'mishor halak iti v'rabim heishiv me'avon ki siftei kohen yishmeru dat v'torah yevakshu mipihu malach Adonai tzeva'ot hu Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzor kol halomim tzadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber umkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah v'al havodah v'al hanve'im v'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha v'limnucha l'chavod u'tifaret al hako Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarchim otach yitbarak shimcha b'fchochi chochai tamid leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. Yesh koach. That was beautiful. Hard stuff's all over. Deep breath. Siona, I believe that on behalf of your class, Forrest Yesness, who is our Director of Youth and Family Education, has some nice words for you and even some gifts, and then we'll return the tour to the Ark, okay?
Hi, Siona. Hi. Mazal Tov. I'm not part of your class, but I like to think I'm the next best thing. People at home are watching, and if it's any indicator of what half of our congregation is this morning, you are a good friend. It's very clear that you have a tight group and a large group of people your age and your peers who matter to you and for whom you matter to them as well. So we have some gifts for you. We know it's been a long time coming, but we hope that it feels worth it, and we'll get those to you soon. And in a little while, Barry's going to give you even more gifts. So congratulations, and we're excited to see what happens with you next.
We invite you please to rise as we return the tour to the Ark, page 256. Siona, can you come with me and open the doors?
It's Chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tom checha meushar derachecha darchei noam v'chol netivotecha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadish Yameinu Chadish Yameinu kekedem.
You can be seated. You have a thank you. There we go. All right. Siona's got some words, then her parents have a blessing, and then I've got a couple things I'm going to add.
I want to thank my parents because since 3rd grade, my dad always drove me to Hebrew school. And I want to thank my mom who worked hard to personalize my party. There are a lot of people whose work, time, and dedication helped me get to this day. I am grateful that my parents supported me in my decision to postpone my bat mitzvah because I felt strongly about not doing it through Zoom. I'm grateful to the synagogue and Rabbi Latz for making sure I was able to get a new date in person. I want to thank my tutor, Marilyn, for all the extra hours of tutoring she put in because I chose to postpone my date. She is always very encouraging and supportive. I would like to thank all the Hebrew school teachers I've had since 3rd grade who helped me learn to read Hebrew in prayers. I'm grateful that every time me and Rabbi Latz met, he helped me better understand my Torah portion. I would like to thank my family for being here today to support me, and as well as my friends and family on Zoom.
Hello, everyone. My name is Marley Nirenstein. I'm Siona's mom. On behalf of my husband, Todd, and myself, we are so grateful to have all of you with us today, some in the physical space, others joining us locally and across the country through Zoom. We would have loved to have had everyone with us in person today, but we understand the very limited capacity at the synagogue is necessary for safety, so we appreciate your willingness to participate in this special day for our family virtually, as well as those of you who are able to be here in person. Siona's original date, as you heard, was supposed to be about 1 year ago, but due to the pandemic, it obviously could not take place as planned. One thing we know about Siona is that she's an individual with her own mind and she knows what she wants. She stood firmly in her strong conviction that she did not want to have her bat mitzvah exclusively via Zoom, even though that's what most kids ended up doing during the pandemic.
Besides revealing that Siona is someone who is committed to her own convictions, it also showed a few other qualities that will hopefully serve Siona throughout her life. That decision to postpone her date required a willingness to take a risk, as it was not known when her special day would be rescheduled for, nor was there any guarantee that she would be able to have her own date, as it could very well have ended up being shared with someone else she didn't even know. Yet it was clearly worth it to Siona for her to risk the gamble of the unknown in exchange for holding out for having this day up here on the bima looking out at friends and family. Her decision also required patience and perseverance. Patience as in not knowing how long it would take until she could have a new date, and perseverance in the form of being willing to engage in an extra year of tutoring and preparation that she could have completed a year ago.
This B'nai Mitzvah preparation also confirmed some other things we have known about our daughter she has been consistent with since her youngest years, and that is that Siona is a very private person. When Siona was little and we would pick her up from school, daycare, and learn literally nothing about the last 8 hours she'd spent there, it quickly became known to Todd and I that what happens at Bethel stays at Bethel, which later translated to what happens at school stays at school, which then what happens at Herzl Camp stays at Herzl Camp, etc. So it is not surprising that what was happening with Siona's Jewish education was between Siona and her Jewish educators. Because of the pandemic and the need to move tutoring to Zoom so Siona could work with her tutor from home for weekly tutoring sessions, one would think that at some point in the last 19 months, we may have heard something, but she was always very vocal each week with, "I have tutoring, don't come in my room." While we are incredibly proud of what we witnessed today, you must know that our witnessing and hearing what we heard today was our very first time ever. So with the exception of her tutor, Marilyn, the experience of hearing Siona chant Torah beautifully for the first time is a shared experience by all of us. Even though our family has been known to be on the, quote, Jew-light side of the Judaism continuum, one thing we have witnessed about Siona through observation is that her Jewish identity really means something to her. She wears her Hebrew necklace on a consistent basis and has a great passion when it comes to being in community with other Jews at Herzl Camp each summer. Moreover, as a rather, I used to think, shy and reserved kid who never liked being the center of attention for anything, one would think that simply having the bat mitzvah over a screen from her home via Zoom would have been the easier, softer way. To not have to get up and do this live in front of so many people. However, Siona clearly felt strongly that she wanted this day to happen in front of her friends and family, at least some in person, even if it meant taking the risk of all the things named previously. Siona, your dad and I could not be prouder of your hard work and perseverance that led up to the amazing job you did today. But even more importantly, we are proud of the young woman you are becoming, someone who knows what matters to them and is committed to those values, even if it's not always easy.
We'd like to thank Shir Tikva and specifically Rabbi Latz for delivering on his promise that this day would happen and even finding a way to give Siona her own special day, which we know really meant a lot to her. And we'd like to thank Marilyn Weisberg for her commitment to working diligently with Siona for a whole extra year and for creating an environment of support and security for Siona each week. We are thankful to all of Siona's Hebrew school teachers over the years who've taught her to read Hebrew and chant Torah. We know that all these pivotal people helped Siona learn to value her Jewish identity and affiliation with Jewish values and all the things that Shir Tikva stands for that drew us to Shir Tikva when we got married here up on this very bima 18 years ago.
Siona, may you look around you today. Look around. See the love and support of family, friends, and community, and know that you are supported today and that this love and support does not end today, but rather it will continue to anchor and nurture you as you enter the next chapter of your life, being a Jewish adult. We love you and could not be prouder.
Siona, as your mom and dad shared, we're proud of you for the work you did to reach today and also for advocating and finding your voice. Our students here at Shir Tikva ask the rabbi a question that we answer, or at least attempt to answer at this point in our service. Siona, your question broke my heart. You asked, why do so many people in the world hate Jews? I'm acutely aware that I'm answering your question on the Shabbat that is the third anniversary of the shooting at the Tree of Life congregation in Pittsburgh, and after this jury selection has been completed in the trial in Charlottesville, where 4 years ago, white nationalists marched past a synagogue shouting, "Jews will not replace us," before one of them murdered Heather Heyer, Zichrona Livracha, and wounded 19 others. Anti-Jewish hatred goes back many centuries, and it's taken on many forms. It usually centers on the idea that Jews are somehow in control of government and money and Hollywood, that we're morally bankrupt and that we're out to destroy society in general and Christian society in particular. Of course, this irrational hatred has no basis in reality, but that hasn't stopped people from believing it or spreading such deadly lies for centuries. But Siona, you didn't ask me what or how do people hate Jews. You asked me why. There's never a good answer to why people hate or scapegoat another group of people. Certainly not a relatively small group of people like the Jews. A statistician recently reported that the entire population of Jews in the world is less than the margin of error on the census for the people of China or India. But my dear friend Eric Ward has a theory. Eric is the leader of the Western State Center in Portland, and he spent his life studying white nationalism and anti-Semitism. And Eric argues that white nationalists, what's a white nationalist, you ask? They're people who actually want America to be a white Christian nation and a white Christian nation only. So the white nationalists and the neo-Nazis foment anti-Semitism as a way to mobilize and energize disaffected white people, mostly young white men. It's essentially the theory of the scapegoat, which says the reason I'm suffering, the reason that there aren't jobs in my town, the reason that life is so hard for me, well, that reason is because the Jews are in charge of fill in the blank, banks, government, corporations, Hollywood, Wall Street, you name it. And because Jewish hatred goes back centuries, it isn't difficult for them to tap into these old conspiracies, whip up the crowd, and cause real people a lot of harm. So, Siona, you're right. There are some real dangers to the Jewish people. Anti-Semitism is real. But the message I want to leave you with today is that not all is lost. Thank you. I shared this with Tessie, who became bat mitzvah a couple weeks ago, and I want to share it with you because I think it helps answer your question. I learned this Torah from my dear friend Rabbi Sharon Brous and from the commentator Sforno, who lived about 800 years ago. And when he was studying the Torah portion where God says to Moses, to send in 12 scouts to see the land of Israel, and he asked them some serious questions. He asked them, are the cities walled or are they open? Are the people strong or are they weak? Are they arrogant or are they generous? Now, most people, and I have to admit, I was one of them, assumed that a walled city that was fortified and strong was impenetrable, right? If you have the best army, if you have the thickest walls, if you've got the greatest locks on your doors and the most expensive guns, well, of course, you'd be safer, right? But not Sforno. He understood that inside fortified cities, people outsourced their safety. They falsely assumed that the walls would protect them. So they went about their business and they kept to themselves. And after a while, they started to believe that they didn't need to talk to their neighbors or get to know people who lived in the same city as them. All because they lived in that walled city and they believed that the walls would keep them safe. But not Sforno. Sforno commented that actually the inverse was true. That it's the people who lived b'machaneh, who lived outside the cities, camping under the stars with no walls to keep them safe, but who in their vulnerability had to learn to communicate with others, to rely on each other, to talk to their neighbors, to learn to trust one another, together to collectively work towards safety and well-being. It was that community and those people who are ultimately substantially safer than those who have thicker walls. So, Siona, I'm really glad you asked the question, especially in this fraught moment where being afraid is not an unreasonable response to what's going on in the world. But what Sforno taught us is a really hard countercultural lesson, and one that I think we have to take pretty seriously. Walls don't keep us safe. Guns don't keep us safe. Locks don't keep us safe. We keep each other safe. And the way we build safety, the way we build a world where all of us can live free, where no one is hated for who they believe or how they look or who they love, is to talk to each other, to work together. And I don't mean this in a silly bumper sticker sort of way. This is really hard work, really, really hard work to reimagine what public safety could look like. We're having this debate in Minneapolis right now. It's a ferocious, vigorous, animated discussion about what is public safety? What does it mean to be safe? And who gets to be safe? There are a lot of folks who believe they have the easy answers, Siona, and they don't. But the work is not necessarily to figure out the end result. Our work together is to be in this conversation repeatedly over and over again with each other, with Jews who are vulnerable, with black people who are vulnerable, with immigrants who are vulnerable, with Muslims who are vulnerable, with each other. Doesn't mean we're always going to agree. In fact, most likely we're going to passionately disagree. But it does being in the work together, trying to be safe, b'machaneh, out in the open, where we can be strong and vulnerable together. Siona, you are a blessing. I'd like to invite you and your parents up to the bema so we can bless you, and invite the congregation please to rise. Maya has a blessing for her sister. If you'd like to join with in Shechianu, I think we're on page 344. We'll say that's what it is, right? Yeah. 344. And Maya will lead us, but you'll join with her, right?
Yeah.
You can take off your mask if you want. You don't have to. Just start with Baruch.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam
shehechianu v'kiyalanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen.
Mazel tov.
Thanks, Maya. We're going to continue by bringing our service to a close. Shanna leads us in Vahashevota. We're on page 284. Since you're already standing, you can stay that way as we begin to conclude our service. 284.
V'hashevota
Vahashevota
el levavecha
el levavecha
ki Adonai
ki Adonai
hu ha-Elohim
hu ha-Elohim
v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yihiyeh Adonai echad ushemo echad.
We turn now to Kadisha Tom, to the Mourner's Kaddish, and we call to mind those we remember today for a blessing. Siona, in addition to the people we are remembering as a synagogue, I'll read their names in a minute, we also wanted to call to mind your Zadie Myron and your great-grandpa Ben. Siona, people often ask me as a rabbi, Rabbi, what happens after we die? And my answer to them, sort of tongue-in-cheek, is I hope I don't find out for a really long time. But the truth is I don't know. But I believe deeply that in moments like this, the people who loved you that much are here. I'm sure of it. And they're kvelling. They're really, really proud. To those two, we add the names of Deborah Berkowitz and Stanley Breen, Louis Danofsky, Lynn Fishbein, Tyler Miles Herman, Jeff Elliott Kaner, Joan Kaufman, Archie Kramer, Mary Kramer, Carl Lawson, Monique Leclerc, Ed Levine, Morris Lieberman, Jean Ornstein, Mendy Polyakov, David Ross, Charles Sellon, Bob Silverman, Jack Stetner, Dorothy Tain, Amaya Tanner, Hannah Lucy Tenon, Eva Vertes, Lawrence Weinstein, Mildred Zuckerman. Are there others you're remembering today whose names we did not mention yet, along with those we are remembering in Pittsburgh?
Michael Herman.
Kadisha Tom, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chiruteh v'amlich malchuteh, b'chayachon u'v'yom echon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'elam almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, Shmei Kodesha Barichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha, may their memories all be for blessing. Amen. Please be seated. Barry Epstein has got some words for you, Siona, in just a second. I just want to thank Julie Jacobs, our shamus here today, Shanna for leading the service, Forrest Yesnes, I think Raina might be online with YouTube. Gordon, who is our sound tech Zoom, all things that I would never have a prayer of understanding maven, and he's great. Marilyn, of course, and Siona, you and your family for bringing us back together, because I never took being together for granted before, but I sure don't take it for granted anymore. Barry, you got a couple words for Siona? Great.
Shabbat Shalom. Siona, on behalf of Shir Tikva, I just want to thank you so much for your beautiful chanting and your words of wisdom. You opened my eyes to a new way of looking at the Esau and its story. You know, it's just, so thank you, thank you. I won't think of it the same way again. You've been to enough bar mitzvahs here, you know the whole ritual. We have some gifts for you, and they'll be coming later. And they do include a year's membership to the JCC and 2 partial scholarships to Israel. Have you been yet?
No.
You will just love it. You will just love it. But I have a chance.
Next summer with Shatikva, Barry.
Huh?
I said maybe next summer she can come with Shatikva.
Yes, yes. But I do have a challenge for you. And the challenge is, like your parents, I've had you in class for how many years? I don't know, a lot. And then I've always known you as being very popular, and yet really haven't known the true, you know, who you truly were. And I got a real glimpse today of what a powerful young woman you are. I want to start off by saying how you know, several people have mentioned it, how you held off for a year in having your bar mitzvah. Your sense of community really, really is amazing and really brought home to me how important it is. Second thing is, I noticed it, and Rabbi Latz commented on this too, you're wanting to have donations go to Black Lives Matter. That statement in itself really struck me when I saw it, and it's so meaningful in a world that still harbors much racism, and just that little bit that you did really, really struck home. So for me, what I'm seeing is a woman of action, very much action. And your actions are noticed because you're so well liked and you don't have to say much. However, my challenge to you is to continue doing your actions and let us in a little bit more, because you have so much wisdom inside of yourself, and I, for one, want to hear much more about what you have to say in the future. So when you come back here, there'll be a name tag. And when you get it, when you come and look at it and remind yourself to just let us in just a bit more, because you are a true leader. And it's just wonderful to have you here. Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, Siona, I'm going to invite up your parents and your sister and all of your cousins. We are going to sing Od Yavo on page 339, and then we'll join together in Kiddush and Motzi. Would you please rise? To the folks streaming, good Shabbos. It was good to be with you. All the cousins, come on up. And everybody else, please stand. There we go. Oh, yes. And Julie's asking, when we're done, and you bring your prayer books back to the table, if you would separate out your program from the prayer book, that would make her life much easier. All right.
Are you doing any announcements?
That was my announcement, Stephanie. I got it. All right. I probably have a lot more, but I'll do my best. Okay. Page 339. Oh, do you have no, it's not 339.
There's a lot of announcements there. We're not the right page?
We're not on the right page, but just sing anyway and I'll figure it out.
Okay. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo
353.
Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Yavo Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kulam.
Siona, would you hold the Kos Kiddush up high? And you can take your mask off to sing a Kiddush. So, Siona, I just have to tell you, there's this tradition that comes out of a little shtibel, a little community in Poland that said, and it used to only be boys, now it's people of any and all gender, but that when you became bar mitzvah, you were supposed to hold the cup as tall as you wanted your future spouse to be. I'm just saying. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafet l'chaim. T'chala. All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Mazal tov. Goodbye, everybody on the stream. Good Shabbos. Just leave it here. Hey, nice work. I'm going to have you read Torah again. That was amazing, Siona. Thank you. I'm really inspired.